Hello, everyone. Welcome to a color commentary video series. Not quite sure what I'll call it yet. Maybe the Adrian show, maybe something else. Definitely not a rebrew, though, which was our older, much forgotten video series. Because I'm not really playing a brew today. I am playing a Boros Monarch list, and one that top aided May 22nd's Popper Daily, piloted by Karaz. I know that Deluxe has also streamed this deck, and it's actually really piqued my interest. I've been on Boros tokens for a very, very long time, and what this deck does is it essentially swaps out the Kuldotha Rebirth, Ichor Wellspring, Rally the Peasants package, and puts in some additional value cards, along with Palace Sentinels, which makes you the titular Monarch. So actually, can I sort this a little differently? Nah. All right, so the land base is not actually that self-explanatory, I think. I actually ran this deck at F&M, and I did make some changes, but for the purposes of the video, I will run Karaz's exact list. I think 4 Boros Garrisons is kind of high, and only 1 Windscarred Crag. I've actually upped that to the full 4, and then shaved a couple Boros Garrisons, and actually shaved 1 Forgotten Cave. But I'm only to play this a little bit more. I've only played a couple of matches with the deck online. I did win F&M with it. I ended up splitting in the finals with Marine Bro, one of the local players. So that was pretty sweet. I also think I only have 2 Radiant Fountains in that list. Oh, I have 2 versions of Windscarred Crag. That's why this looks weird. I'll replace that before I actually start the series. Some of this is pretty familiar from the Boros tokens list. We have 4 Glint Hawks, 4 bouncing stuff like Prophetic Prison back to our hand, 4 Thraben Inspectors, which is pretty sweet with getting you the Clue token, as well as with Core Skyfisher, which is, this looks like it's sorted by... can I really not sort this any other way? Oh, there we go. Well, I guess that doesn't really help us. Whatever. I guess we can sort by color. Well, whatever. 4 Galvanic Blast, because we are always turning on Metalcraft. 4 Bolts, so that's sort of the removal package. Of note is that we do not have the 2 copies of Firebolt, which in my local meta, I did elect to leave in the list, although in the Moto meta, I do believe cutting them is okay. And we'll get to the sideboard in a second. Really, the first big change is 4 copies of Alchemist's File. So this is a card that when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, so it synergizes with your core Skyfisher and Glint Hawk cards. But since we're not playing Kuldotha Rebirth, we don't need to sacrifice it, which is what Ichor Wellspring was good for. And instead, we can pay 1 to sacrifice it. Target creature can't attack or block this turn. And at first glance, this seems like draft garbage, but really, it helps you defend the Monarch, which is very key to how this deck functions. Also, 3 copies Journey to Nowhere, just a very strong removal spell right now. 4 copies Score Skyfisher, I think I mentioned that. 1 copy Prismatic Strands helps defend against Monarch and may help to make good trades. This deck has less creatures in it, and so each one matters a little bit more. And then here's the real kicker: 4 copies of Palace Sentinels, which is just incredible. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch, and it's got a big butt. You can't really bolt it. It's hard to get rid of. And, once you claim the Monarch, you're the Monarch as long as you have a good defense. And then, of course, 2 copies of Battle Screech for helping in the games. So this deck plays similarly to the Boros tokens list, but the game really hinges on, after you become the Monarch, defending the Monarchy. So that makes for some very interesting games, because I found myself trading a lot of resources I wouldn't normally trade just to make sure I stayed the Monarch. Which, it pays for itself in the end, so that's probably okay. But the Monarch does add a very interesting new mechanic to the game, and there's a couple different lists. I know there was also a white-black one that top-aided as well. But it's also kind of a dangerous mechanic, because once you introduce it, you can't get rid of it, and so if you lose it, that could easily lose you the game. So it's a very high-risk, high-reward mechanic, and really, there have been games where I've just played this on turn 4 on an empty board, and that was good enough. But some games, you really have to wait to play it till you have full control of the board state, so it's a very interesting mechanic. Going to our sideboard, we have 1 copy of Cop Green, 1 copy Cop Red. I think Cop Green is pretty self-explanatory. Stompy is one of the best decks in the meta right now. Cop Red, I think, is a concession to Burn or the mono red decks, whether they be the hasty kind, the goblin kind, or the burning kind, simply because those decks are so popular on Moto. 2 copies Lone Missionary helps us race by getting 4 life. 3 copies of Standard Bearer, which is one of my all-time favorite sideboard cards, simply because it just totally hoses certain matchups, Boggles and Stompy. 2 copies Electrickery for those little dude matchups. 2 copies of Gorilla Shaman. I finally completed my playset of the promo, so I'm very happy about that. And then 4 copies of Pyroblast. So that's the deck, and I will see everybody in match 1. Here we are, game 1, match 1. I won the die roll, so yes, I would like to play first. Hmm. So we have turn 1 Forgotten Cave, or alternatively turn 1 Glinthawk. I think I like this hand because we have a bit of removal. We have this bounce. We have a couple card draw spells. This deck doesn't really want to put on pressure as much as the tokens deck, which I think of as kind of a good hybrid between I don't know. I don't think it's important for this deck to have an turn 1 play, really. Let's just... What are the hotkeys? Every time I play on new computers, what are the hotkeys? Looks like F2. All right, sure. All my other computers, it's actually the number keys now and not the F keys. All right, burn. That's I was just talking about how prevalent that was. This might not be a great hand against burn, but we do have some sideboard cards. All right, let's go ahead and play our Prophetic Prism. Okay, Palace Sentinels is actually good. I don't know if burn really has a lot of ways to take back the Monarchy. What I worry about is that our deck might be a little bit too slow to stop burn. So this turn, I don't think we can take a turn off to play Boros Garrison, although actually that's very tempting. So actually, it's probably fine. We'll Glinthawk. Yes, let's return. You know, I could return the Ancient Din, but I think I really want to set up for Palace Sentinels. Let's return the Prism. And then let's Boros Garrison this back to our hand. And now we've set up a turn where we can become the Monarch and then apply some pressure. Yeah, okay. 2 Curse the Pierce Tart is actually... yeah, our opponent is kind of getting us here. I don't think we can really... Like, 2 Curse the Pierce Tart's going to be a little hard to race. I think we're going to have to really leverage our sideboard to get there. Let's go ahead and play Palace Sentinels. We become the Monarch. And actually, the Monarchy seems pretty good against burn because, like I said, depending on their build, they might not even have a lot of creatures if they're running any. Galvanic Blast, I actually do like because it lets us kill our opponent. But we could just be dead here if they have a Fire Blast or a Bolt. Yep, all right, we lose. Nature of the Beast. Do like our sideboard here, though. Let's bring in the Cop Red, the Lone Missionaries, and that should be it. Let's keep in Prismatic Strands. Let's take out... this deck is just kind of clunky to fight against burn. I want to say we should shave a Palace Sentinels, but I think I might like shaving a Prism, I guess a Prism, a Vial, and a Sentinels. Just some of our clunky cards that are kind of do nothing. I don't think I really like Standard Bear. I traditionally don't bring it in against burn. You know, in my list last night, I was also playing Ray Revelation, which I would absolutely bring in here. I think it's good. I think we just have to mulligan pretty aggressively to Cop Red or Lone Missionary. So yeah, we'll play first. This hand is Cop Red, so that's perfect. Let's keep. We'll be playing it a little late. No big deal. Let's go turn 1 Forgotten Cave. Yeah, because then I want to Boros Garrison that back to my hand. So yeah, that's fine. Let's play the Forgotten Cave. Pretty lucky to get this in our opener, but I think that's really what we need for this kind of matchup. And now what we can do is we can play that and then sit back on a bunch of mana and like not really do anything, and then eventually hope to get there. The worst thing my opponent could play here would be the Curse the Pierce Tart, simply because I'm going to have a hard time getting rid of that. So do I want to cycle this? No, I think I want all my mana. So let's just garrison it back to our hand. Yeah. There is an argument for cycling that, but I think right now, because I'm on the Cop Red plan, I just want to be able to have as much mana open as possible at all times. All right, so that's something. The only reason this is a problem is because I have to deal with it every turn. So that's, you know, mana I have to spend, but it shouldn't be too bad. And, you know, I don't have to do it right away either. Ancient Din, don't hate that. Let's go ahead and play the... let's play the Great Furnace. I don't think it really matters. I do want to leave up the red, though. or the mana to use it. And then I think we're good to actually let this ride in. All right, he just concedes. Fair enough, fair enough. That's a tough card for that deck to beat. Fun interactive Magic have had all around. So we don't have anything like that this game. But we do have Thraben Inspector, but we don't have it on turn 1. We actually have no turn 1 play, and our opponent mulligan to 6. I think we're safe to mulligan, and there we go. This is an incredible hand. Let's keep. So turn 1, I will keep the mana because I want to play the Copper Red. Turn 1 will gain 2 life, just in case our opponent has any sort of artifact destruction. I don't just want to outright lose my first land. Getting 2 life, also not bad. We can set up for a turn 2 Cop Red, and we're incredibly lucky. I mean, 2 Journey to Nowheres might be actually straight up useless, so. But it's not. So, interesting play here. Could Journey the Alchemist? You know, I actually don't hate that. And then we set up a turn where we can Cop Red and use it on the same turn. Oh, I played Cop Red. Right, just as I was thinking about Journey to Nowhere. That's okay. I don't think our opponent will get too much value off of this. I think what happened was I subconsciously knew I should play this card. I forgot we gained 2 life. It's probably fine. Molten Rain? Alright, that's A-okay. We don't care about that. Molten Rain on the artifact lands is not that good. I think my opponent would rather play Smash. Molten Rain is very good against the bounce lands. So could bolt it. I think I actually like bolting it and then leaving up the Cop Red mana. And now I don't think this game is losable. Is he considering fire blasting me in response? That is what happened. So let's let that untap. Let's prevent fire blast. And we'll take a damage. Thermal Alchemist will die, and we won't take anything from fire blast. I don't know if that was a very good play or not. I did get an extra damage out of me. Okay, there's a bolt. And a needle drop. Okay, well, now I'm feeling in pretty good shape here. Because we can just sit here the whole game, not do anything. There's Boros Garrison, so I could even bounce the Radiant Fountain back to my hand. Unfortunate, because that's something we'll have to pay for. Basically, this has a pay 1, every upkeep. Although, with only 1 card in hand, maybe it doesn't matter so much. Although I think the game is pretty elementary from here. I haven't technically won the game. I have no threats in my hand. Do we pay this? Yeah, let's pay it. We don't have anything else going on. Oh, okay, I see. There's just multiple things I can do there. Another Boros Garrison, fine. We'll just regain a bunch of life. So this turn, we'll pay with the Radiant Fountain. Opponent making us played out, which is fine. The only reason I even mention it is because they conceded so quickly the other game I resolved this. You can technically win through a Cop Red. I'm going to make it very difficult because I'm gaining life and I'm... All right, and there we go. All right, so we win round 1. I'll see everyone for round 2.